From that day, we share cafe lattes. Ooh, cafe lattes.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Having a Lovely Chat. And tonight's guest is Sinn Féin TD and local TD, Joanna Byrne.
Hi, everybody.
How are you getting on? Are you well?
I'm great. Not
Good.
too bad.
Thanks for coming down.
A little bit nervous.
We're all a little bit nervous. Oh, talk to a politician.
Oh, don't call me that.
Yeah, you don't want to. So, do you want to just before we start off, maybe give a bit of background to yourself, just for the listeners that don't?
Yeah, of course. I suppose I like to call myself an unintended politician. It's not something I ever had any aspirations to be. It's something I probably just naturally fell into through my community activism and my Drogheda activism. I spent 8 years on Louth County Council. I was co-opted onto the council in March 2016 when Imelda Munster was first elected to the Dála. I took her seat on the council and just kind of naturally progressed. I always said I was never going to the Dála, and I was happy enough where I was. And look, once you're in that vortex, you're in that vortex, and it's just the way it rolls. So I was lucky enough and very privileged, very honoured to be elected by the people of Louth last November, and here I am.
How did you find going from the county council to the Dála?
I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, if I'm being honest with you. As I said, it's never where I wanted to be, and I was always very cautious of...
Sometimes that's the best people to have there.
Yeah, I didn't want to lose my connectivity to my home, you know, and sometimes when you go to these kind of jobs or institutions or whatever labels you want to put in them, you can get caught up in all the bureaucracy and kind of get dragged away from the stuff that motivates you, the stuff that's important to you. But I think I'm finding the balance. I'm finding it more than I thought I would, that's been honest with you. And once I'm able to keep that balance and keep connected to Drogheda and things at home and things that kind of get me up out of bed.
You seem to be very focused on Drogheda, which is good,
I am. Like I'm a Drogheda girl, born and bred. Like you can take me out of Drogheda, but you'll never take Drogheda out of me, as they say, you know. But I'm finding the transition a lot more seamless than I thought. Don't get me wrong, it's daunting, it's new, it's a challenge, it's hard work like everything else, but I'll give it my best.
How do you find speaking in public like that?
I hate it. Absolutely bloody hate it. So I do. And everybody who knows me knows. And they always tell me that you'd never know that. I don't know if they're just being nice and trying to put me at ease, but I absolutely hate public speaking.
And did you have to practice it? Like, you know, no, you just kind of went for it?
No, well, I do. Like, I probably do practice it, you know, but the more you think about it, the more overwhelmed you get. And sometimes it can be natural, and sometimes I don't overthink it, particularly if it's something I'm passionate about. But if it's something that's a little out of my comfort zone, and you know, I get very nervous.
I find that. See, with like singing and stuff like that, I'd be no problem singing, but then like speaking, it's a different thing, isn't it? So it is,
and especially in the environment you're in, like the Dála chamber, it looks massive on the telly, but it's actually really, really compact and really small, and like they're right on top of you. And like my first speech was on the day of the first sitting of the Dála. I got to nominate Mary Lou for Taoiseach, and that was a full house. Every single TD was there, and they were all sitting kind of on top of you, and it was really, really overwhelming. But I suppose, like everything else, it'll become a bit easier. I hope. For sure. But look, we'll just take it.
It was carnage at the start of the Dála, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit bizarre, all right.
What was actually going on? Like, because I was reading a bit about it and what was going on. So it was basically Michael Lowry was part of the opposition, but he wasn't. Was that the...
Yeah, I think the best description of that I've heard in recent weeks and months since this all kicked off was Patrick Keelty on the Late Late Show, when he said, I can't sit here and present the show and be in the audience at the same time. And I think that really resonated with people. And, you know, it was morally wrong. We won't get into the politics of it. It was morally wrong, but I was astounded by the support from the people saying, you know, this isn't right, keep at them. It was a baptism of fire. It certainly made the first couple of months of any Dála term a learning curve. But put it this way, I don't think they'll ever be as turbulent days again.
Right, okay.
I hope.
Fingers crossed. Just get on with it.
We're there to do a job.
Exactly.
But you know, you have to do what's right as well.
You do,
and you do indeed.
Yeah, if you're going to do a job, do it right as well. And why did you pick Sinn Féin?
It's not that I picked them. My mum would be a Republican. I've always been reared around republicanism. Always kind of had that interest, and I suppose I just naturally started becoming active. And my mum was a member of the Sinn Féin Common here in Drogheda, the Bobby Sands Common, and she was selling Easter lilies. She was
it's always been part of your life.
And I just kind of naturally fell into it alongside her. And I suppose what really triggered my activism was coming up to that 2016 general election, and there was an opportunity to elect the first female TD for Louth. And once Imelda stepped forward, and it's a big thing to put your name forward for something like that. And once she put her name forward and she was selected by the Common, I was really, really passionate about making sure that happened. I actually took 6 weeks off work to campaign as much as I could, morning, noon and night for that campaign. But little known to me, while I was doing that, the party were eyeing me up and saying, if we get Imelda elected, there's her replacement. But I was that bloody naive. I never seen that coming. Like I really didn't. So it was all very natural. And all of a sudden we got Imelda elected on the Sunday, and by the Tuesday the party was saying to me, okay, we're putting you on to the council next week. And I'm like, sorry, what now? onto the local
organisation. Right. Okay. Wow. And so what is going on with the one of the things I want to ask you, how can Drogheda get our own council?
Well, I suppose city status is a big...
Is that the way it is?
It's a big
I know
thing.
you're a big advocate for that.
I'm very, very passionate about city status, and probably for the reason of the powers that were stripped from local government. 2014, around that time was around the time that I started becoming politically active here in the town, and that was the time the Fine Gael Labour government stripped local government of their powers.
Did they?
I'm sure somewhere along the line, and I'm not one for slaughtering my fellow colleagues, and it's not. I'm more, you kill more bees with honey than you do with anything else. I don't know. Is the honest answer. I'm sure somewhere along the line there was method in their madness, or so they thought. But I really think Drogheda has suffered massively. It's probably worked in some areas. It's probably benefited areas, but certainly it hasn't benefited us. And I think I'm actually in the process of compiling a bill, my first bill, which I'm hoping will be on city status, the restoration of local government. So I'm working with our party spokesperson on local government, Tommy Gold, at the moment. But that's something that was top of my agenda when I went in that door and knocking doors and corridors. Hadn't a clue where I was going, what I was doing. I was saying, how can I get city status for Drogheda? And they're all looking at me going, will you feck off? There's bigger things going on in the world. But there's not bigger things going on for Drogheda.
If that's what we're going to get back, that's
absolutely
such an important thing.
It's certainly something I'll be hammering on as long as I'm there anyway.
And do you think we would be close to it? Like, how what's the receivership
of
it?
I don't think. I think there's been a lot of gestures, and I think a lot of nodding heads and appeasing people, and we look at that and we look at that. I don't think there's any
politics.
A lot of politics, that dreaded word. I don't think there's the political will by the people who are in charge to do it. They do it for us. There's replications of it and precedent and all of that kind of stuff, and I think there's a fear to change things. I don't know why, but I'm telling you here and now, I will hammer that drum every single month while I'm up there. And it's our party policy. I took it to our Sinn Féin Ardèche in 2018 with my colleague Councillor Kenneth Flood, who was on the council with me at the time. We made it our party policy in 2018. So we took it to our membership all around the country, and it was voted for. So it's part of our ambitions. It's in the to-do list.
And what's the specifics that Drogheda needs to...
I don't know if there's one quick fix. Funny enough, I actually listened to the new chief executive of Louth County Council on LMFM this morning. It's the first time that somebody in that position has ever done an interview with the local media like that. Yeah, so I thought that was a seismic moment this morning. And I listened to Ken Murray ask David Conway the same thing. How do we fix Drogheda? What can we do to elevate Drogheda, essentially? And I thought his answer was very, very good. there's not just one quick fix. It's not just
What do you
council led.
think?
I think there needs to be a lot of collaboration, and I think we're actually doing a lot of this stuff already. If you look at the working relationship between the Gardaí, between Love Drogheda Bids, Chamber of Commerce, the councillors who get an awful hard time. I was a councillor for 8 years. They get an awful hard time for the work that they do that nobody ever sees, and then the council executive themselves. I think all them stakeholders have to have the mindset first and foremost that Drogheda needs elevating. I think the feud done that. I think as bad and all as it was, it really shunned the light on areas of deprivation, services that we don't have, structures that need to be strengthened. I think an awful lot of that work is underway. I think there's an awful lot of really, really good, positive moves being made. And a lot of it by volunteers as well. And I really need to say that I'm very passionate about volunteers in Drogheda, and it's something that really makes me proud is that civic pride that people take in the town. And there's a seismic amount of work being done on the ground there on a daily basis of people trying to just pick an area, whether it's working with an organisation, whether it's physically cleaning the street on a daily basis or something like that.
I think Drogheda is a very proud town as a whole, you know what I mean? All the, from what I know is the business people and the musicians and everything, like we're very proud to have the football team, which we'll get on to in a while.
We're not doing an interview without mentioning it.
For sure. But like that's like what do you think are the biggest things that's what
dereliction is a big one.
Massively,
it's a massive one, and you know, crime is still a big one. And I don't want to slaughter anybody. I think the Gardaí do phenomenal work. I think our superintendent Andrew Waters is just God. You know, he's single-handedly transformed community policing, breaking down barriers between the Gardaí and the kids, leaving kids and young people open to maybe talking to the guards a lot more than they would have been 10 or 20 years ago. He has a huge part to play in that, and he needs to be credited for that, and we're really, really lucky. He was due to retire this May and he's staying on another year till next year. I think if we can get the crime underway, tackle the dereliction, that people can feel safe to be on the town, that in itself will naturally, organically regenerate, rejuvenate the town centre without the addition of new businesses, which will come if the place is tidied up and it's safe and there's a nice vibrancy around it. But once people feel safe, that's the key. And all them things come hand in hand. Boarded up buildings, people are scared, antisocial behaviour.
West Street at the moment,
of course.
Is there any movement in that building? That's
there is. But everything just takes time.
Doesn't
it? It's
like
so frustrating.
Just takes ages.
It's so frustrating. Like there's red tape everywhere you go. But like areas like that, they nearly attract antisocial behaviour.
Wow, big time.
They become areas that,
do you know what the annoying thing is? Like say over there on Narrow West Street, and then around the corner, John Bannon and Eugene have done such an amazing job on the Abbey, which is class. And imagine having like more concerts and stuff like that down there, which there should be nearly over the whole summer.
Well, it's thanks to John and Eugene, and I'm great friends with them. Like every day for the last 9.5 years, the men have gone down and bleached that, power washed that Abbey twice a day. And if you actually look at the before photos and the after photos of what they've single-handedly transformed that area, we've had the Puka Festival down there. We've had all sorts of different things.
But then what I'm saying is that you come round the corner and then
just eyesores everywhere. Now, look, to be fair, there is the Westgate Vision is underway. Again, it's taken a time. I know that. That's something
they did get the go ahead for that, did they?
Yeah, it's moving forward. It is moving forward, but it's not going to happen overnight. But we really, really need that, But then we've got a major problem that we've got. Georgia Street, the Abbey, all of that area, Farther Connolly Way, that will all get them public realm improvement works. And then you've got the privately owned buildings in Narrow West Street, which are still going to be stuck in the middle of them. So the council and government, to be fair, with their dereliction laws and things like that, they really need to step up and enforce with every power that they have, enforce it, and really kind of bring that along with them.
If Drogheda kind of had then their own immediate council as such, that things would move quicker.
An awful lot quicker,
so because everything is going up. But
you have people who's vested in Drogheda kind of leading the charge for Drogheda, rather than just being a number in a pie, in a larger pie,
Yeah, and I think that then, but through city status, if we can, say we might not get that.
We will get it. I do believe we get it. I just think it'll take time, and I tell you one thing, Anna McKenna will not pass peacefully until we do get it, let me tell tell you.
Right, okay.
That City Status Group are a formidable crowd.
Right,
Yeah,
good,
they're staunch.
Well, we'll give them a shout out there. Go on
Yeah,
to Drogheda
they're brilliant. And
Yeah.
Anna McKenna, the chair of the City Status Group, she's a good Drogheda United woman as well, but she's fierce in her passion for Drogheda and it's getting its City status.
And then by
so,
getting that, we will
yeah.
get our councilling back, because I do think it's definitely essential for the town.
I think so too.
To do that. So, so that was good. On to Drogheda United. Are you buzzing at the minute?
I'm buzzing.
Yeah.
That's
Top
just the
of
best
table.
word. You picked the best word there. You know, funny, like this time last year was just soul destroying. You know, we were dropping points and we got to the end of June and Dundalk beat us, and fuck me, like, sorry, excuse my language.
It's all right.
The derby matches, like, there was no match we ever liked losing, but particularly not to Dundalk. You know, the rivalry is so staunch there. But we lost to Dundalk, and we really thought we're screwed. Like, you know, we're definitely getting relegated. And it was so soul destroying, because we'd had a really positive 18 months in the build up to the takeover with Travella, and everything was going great. We were finally getting investment into the club, into the staff, into the structures. We could go sleep on a Wednesday night and not worry about how we were going to pay the wages on a Thursday. Do you know what I mean? Everything was going right except the football. And it was really, really hard to take. It was a really low point for everybody involved in the club, and I'm sure for the fans as well, you know. And then, you know, the transfer window came, and there was one or two signings made, and it just solidified all the talent that was already there, just pulled everything together.
And them going full time as well, wasn't it?
Well, we didn't do that till this year, but we just went on a roller coaster then. We started, you know, keep retaining points and not losing points, and, you know, then we got on a good cup run, and with the cup final in November, which was just magical. Like, but in saying that, like, with the cup final on a Sunday and the following Saturday, we were in a relegation playoff. You know, it was just like, whoa, what's going on here?
I was actually at those
but
couple of games.
you know, the season this year has just took off to, you know, such a great start. And people have been saying to me, like, because like I'm Drogheda United to the core. Like, I wear my colours with so much pride, and no matter where I go, I'm always talking about the Drogs. Like, and people are saying, oh, good win for you Friday night, and you're top of the league. And I'm going, yeah, it's great. And I'm trying not to play it up, you know, because I'm kind of thinking, oh, well, next week we might not be. And then the next week came, and we were still top of the league. And the next week came, and I'm saying, oh, I'm just waiting for this bubble to bust. And somebody said to me the other day, oh, geez, Joanna, you know, you're still top of the league. Like, and I was like, yeah. And he says to me, do not say you're waiting for the bubble to burst, because you've been saying that for weeks. And he said, you can't say that anymore. I said, no, now I'm getting greedy. I'm saying we should have won the other night and not draw. But no, look, it's brilliant. You know, the cup win was just monumental for the town and for the club. Like, I done some school tours in the build up to the cup final with the team, and, you know, we went into the school in Butterbrew. We hadn't even played in the final, never mind won it. Like, we went into the school in Butterbrew and St Patrick's up there, and Beatlemania, I wouldn't have got a look in. Like, I can still hear the kids screaming. They were screaming, and it was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, it was just, I've never witnessed anything like it in my life. Now, we had a lot of schools, and a lot of them were electric, but this one in particular was just, it was just magical. Like, and I was like, and at that point I actually said, I don't even know who was with me, and I said, geez, imagine what it'd be like if we come back here with the cup if we won. Like, and we didn't even dare to dream at that stage. Like, we were really just thinking, it's a great day out, it's a good, you know, it'll lift everybody's spirits, it'll give the town something to be positive about. And then there was businesses in the council were draping the streets and their windows in claret and blue, and it was just lovely to see. But did we even think that far ahead? What happens if we win? I'm being honest with you, no, I didn't. But that's just that moment in that school, and there was all these kids just screaming and asking me for autographs. Like, I was like, why are you asking me for an autograph? Like, you know, I'm just here chaperoning the players, you know. But it was mad, and it was just, it was crazy, and it was great. You know, the homecoming in Scotch Hall that night, and big shout out to Nicola Kelly in Scotch Hall. Like,
a great job at it.
The pressure she took off me was unbelievable, because I was trying to plan for homecoming, and I was trying to plan for one if we won, and saying, what do we do if we don't win? And if you put out all this expense on things and then we don't win? And it was a very, very tough place to be. And Nicola just swanned in there and she said to me, Joanna, we'll look after it. Just tell me you'll bring the team here and leave it to me. And I was like, And what happens if we win? Yeah, grand. And what happens if we don't win? Yeah, whatever you want to do is fine.
Right.
Like, honest to God, she shouldered all of that pressure for me. And that night, like, standing on the stage back in Scotch Hall and bringing that team up onto the stage and seeing thousands of people, and the kids, like the little tots, like at 9 o'clock at night, still out, waving their flags and everything. I was so, I'll never forget that night as long
Drogheda
as I
really
live.
need that as well.
Yeah, I think the timing was perfect. And it's really just lifted. You know, I watch our attendance kind of demographic has gone from single men, old single men, young single men, middle-aged single men, to families. There's young men with their girlfriends, there's middle-aged men with their wives and their young babies, there's older men with the grandkids. It's families, it's all kids, and then they come around, they're queuing up outside the front door waiting for autographs at 10:30 at night. My little heart does be melting. Like, it's so magical, and it just reminds me of when I was younger and I was that child hanging around waiting to see the players. It's a lovely place to be, that every kid in the town is wearing a Drogheda jersey instead of a Celtic jersey or a Man United jersey. It's really, really special that
and
we're
do you think
able
since
to
they
do
won
that.
the cup that definitely that's all? I've definitely noticed that, even people talking in the coffee shop and stuff like that.
It's great.
And so one of my friends, Noel Gregory, do you know Gregory?
I know Niall.
Gregory, he does the Drogheda United podcast, but he wanted me to ask you about the new stadium. What's the...
Right. So I suppose we're in early stages of the new stadium. As I said, we'd just gone through a takeover, and this time last year, was the middle of April last year, government announced they were opening a fund, the Large Scale Sports Infrastructure Fund, which comes around only every 3 or 4 years. So we went into panic mode. I went, oh shit, we kind of have to jump on this and make an application. We spent a huge amount of money on an application. We hired a consultancy firm with expertise in football planning applications, stadium applications, that kind of stuff. We put in a second to none application in a very, very short period of time, and the board, like everybody involved, just gave so much effort into getting everything we had to do. I suppose what probably held us back and that we weren't successful is, one, we didn't own the land yet. Now, we were in negotiations with Louth County Council at that stage. I'm not saying anything I suppose I haven't said publicly already. We were in negotiations with the council, but we hadn't moved forward to transaction stage because the boundaries had to be defined and stuff like that, zone and all that kind of stuff had to be looked at. And because
more red tape.
Yes, more red tape. I've seen, it's everywhere we turn. And I suppose because we didn't own the land, we hadn't gone to planning at that stage, so we weren't deemed as a shovel-ready project. Now, I would say we probably would have been more shovel-ready than some of the projects that were awarded funding. And some projects that have been in the pipeline for in excess of 10 years. Some of them were awarded that funding last November and haven't touched it yet. I would think if we had been awarded that funding in November, we would have bought that land the following day and we would have been into planning, and you'd probably see some construction underway already. That's how much the need is there for us. Like, we're talking about the momentum that's around the club at the minute, the new era of fans that's coming in, the families, the kids, all this. I'm still probably turning away 1,000 people every Friday night, 1,500 people every Friday night.
Oh wow.
All our matches are selling out up to 3 weeks in advance. Yesterday we put up our tickets for the next 2 matches and they're sold out. It's just, and then I'm getting people ringing me who are 80 years of age that aren't online, they don't have season tickets. They might be saying, Joanna, how do I get a ticket? Went up to the clubhouse, but they're selling out online instantly. And then I'm telling somebody who's going to a match longer than I'm alive, sorry, we're sold out. Or we might have somebody who just might not have had the money when they went up online yesterday and we're waiting until payday today or next week, or there's circumstances get in the way of all sorts of things. But I reckon I could easily sell another 2,000 tickets every Friday night. So the stadium is a huge priority for us, you can assure them of that. We're ready to move on the land. Obviously we've had a new chief executive come in, which kind of stalled things a little, I suppose, until he got his feel for the project and what it entails, but he's exceptionally supportive. So I think we're probably ready to move on the land. We've already commenced pre-planning in advance of the transaction closing on the land. And I suppose we're just waiting for the next funding opportunity. Now,
when will that be, do you think?
That's the $1 million question.
Right.
Thomas Byrne, who was the previous Minister for Sport, had assured us we were top of the reserve list. So there could be a scenario where somebody who is awarded funding may not be able to use it in time. The stipulations of time conditions you have to meet and to avail of all these funding streams. If somebody can't or has to drop out or has to change or whatever, we are next in line. So we need to be ready to capitalise on that as soon as it happens. Yeah. We're also putting massive pressure on government. The FAI are, football clubs are, politicians to open another round of the LSSIF next year, which I think they probably will. You see,
I would say even as a whole, the whole League of Ireland should be invested in by the government.
It should be
like a lot into it. There's definitely more viewership, like even watching on TV and people going out to pubs to watch it. And they should be pumping money into that.
They should be, but they're not.
They're not.
And I would 100% agree with you. I'm a football girl. I'm a League of Ireland girl. It is my passion. Like, I was at my first Loud match fucking 4 weeks ago. Like, do you know what I mean? I was never into the GA at all. I'm just now at work. I kind of have to because I'm over the sports.
Give the wave.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, But I've always been involved in the soccer and stuff like that. So I'd 100% agree with you. They need to. But I don't think they probably understood what the League of Ireland can bring to the economy, to participation in sport, to elevating the senior team. There's a whole load of benefits to it. But I think the work, to be fair, the work the League of Ireland department has done under Mark Scanlon in the last couple of years has really kind of showcased the potential. When you look at the attendance figures, I think Drogheda was actually top of that table too. At the increase in attendance post-COVID, we were up 47%.
Well, you do say we have the best fans, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I would always say that. Anyway, but I may be biased. But if you look at the increase across the board, all the clubs' attendance just have shot through the roof. So there's an onus on government, to be honest with you now, to ensure that participation stays and continues to evolve. But it's never going to evolve if the infrastructure around clubs and around the country
100%.
doesn't evolve with it. Like, if you look at, we really only have Tallaght Stadium at the moment that's fit for purpose. We've got 4 Irish teams playing European football this summer. So you've got 4 Irish teams that have to share the one ground. It poses its own
that's not
and
good
it
enough,
reflects really, really poorly on us as a nation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in my view, it reflects really, really poorly on the government for not supporting the sport.
I think sometimes, like, the government, is that still warm?
Yeah,
tea, is it okay? Do you want me to get water?
I'll spit it out. No, it's
freezing. I think sometimes the government that don't believe enough in Ireland, nearly, of what we have to offer.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Because it kind of annoys me that even aside from sport, like our music, we've best
our
musicians,
arts as well.
Our arts, we have our beef, our milk, all around. But it always seems to be a thing. Oh, we'll just be always the good little boys. Or, you know what I mean? But it's like, hold on a sec. Like, for such a small little Ireland, we're amazing in so many categories.
Would you like a party membership form?
Yeah. Sometimes.
No, I'm glad you said that.
It really does get under my
We're
goat.
very backwards in coming forward.
100%.
And I don't know.
Believe in yourself a little bit.
I don't know if it's, again, they wrapped up in the fucking bullshit of the institution, that they, or is it, are they solely focused on what they know? And do some of these people come from different worlds to the rest of us? I don't know.
I've tried to have these conversations sometimes with people, and they say, right, politicians get in, and which brings me to another point, but say there's obviously the civil servants then as well. But they're in their jobs for life, and these are politicians that are coming and going and coming and going.
But the problem is the politicians aren't going.
But they're going, the same. So now they're going, you're not leaving. So And then, right, which I wanted to ask you, how does Sinn Féin get over that, right? Considering that now you're going to have Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, right, that can bind together. Like, you're going to have to make a party, a much bigger party to be able to beat that. Yeah,
well, look, we are a much bigger party than we've ever been before.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at, we're touching on 40 TDs in there at the moment. That's unprecedented. We've 6 senators. So we've got the largest parliamentary party team we've ever had in the
Isn't that
Dáil.
crazy though, and they're still not?
I know, it's not big enough, right? I
no,
get
as
that.
in they're still not in government because they're binding, combining
it's
together.
pure fear to keep us
absolutely,
out, and
no.
it's they're afraid of the apple cart being rocked, the establishment being rocked, but look, we're opposition. That's what we're there to do. Do I believe there's a change? Yes, I do. Did I probably 2-3 years ago? No. Did we miss our boat? I would say we probably did.
Yeah.
I
think that forced not the last general election, the one before.
The referendum last year, I think, really damaged us.
Yeah.
In hindsight, right, let's be honest, the general election didn't go our way. We wanted to be in government. We were on course to be in government. Did we get preoccupied with being in government? I would say we probably did.
Right.
Did we lose?
What do you mean? Like, as in?
I don't know if we got very middle ground or mainstream there for a while.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, and that's me being perfectly
being
honest.
I think it's sometimes I felt as if you don't know what it's like you're standing for. Just make a decision and stick by it.
Yeah,
and I think people would appreciate that.
I'd say there was
more.
probably, look, I wasn't there at the time, so I can't speak, and I don't want to knock anybody's hard work.
For sure.
There was probably pressure on people to be more government-like.
Yes.
Do you know, that kind of way?
Yeah.
And
we're not going to upset too much.
Yeah, the realisation was probably hitting people that, our spokesperson in housing could, in a few months' time or a year's time, be the Minister for Housing. So do you start acting appropriately? And what is appropriate? Do you know, how do you define what is appropriate? Or similar to our spokesperson on health, were they about to become the Minister for Health? And did people just kind of play it a little bit cautious? I don't know. I can't say that, but that's what's been said to us. That's what's been said to us on the doors. So after the general election,
I see a lot of posts online, and that seems to be the comments. I'd read the comments, and that seems to be the thing.
We did get a bit of that. On the doors,
and people kind of go, you betrayed it in this or whatever it is.
Now, we 2 elections last year. Like, we had the local election the beginning of June, and we got an awful lot of that during the local election campaign. And then we went into general election campaign. I think there was a bit of a shift back. People were probably realising, we've got Tweedledum and Tweedledee here who have done us no favours, or do we give somebody else a chance? Yeah. But not enough people were ready to give us that chance. Yeah. So what we done since the general election is Mary Lou done a root and branch review of the whole party.
Okay.
Every structure, every organisation is under review at the moment. We've got a commission that's out talking to our grassroots activists, our Cumming, Corlacanter and Coogee structures. That's like our management structures in every area, regionally, locally, talking to all our elected reps, our councillors, our TDs, and we've spent time discussing where we went wrong. Right. And one thing I will give her great credit for is she took the criticism on the chin. Right. She really heard, she really listened, and there's very much a back to basics mindset with us now. We're always very good at out on the ground, outreach, campaigning, canvassing. Like, I canvass every week. I always have done, even when there's no elections. But it's getting people back into being in their communities with their people and forgetting about the titles. If government comes, it comes. But forget about it until you're there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and I think people would appreciate that an awful lot more. Yeah. Because this is something that Shawnee, I'm going to give him a Shanti, about like transparency. Yeah. Right. And that's the kind of problem is that we don't know what like our elected officials are actually doing. Do you know what I mean? And that's across the board. And he was saying that he wanted me to talk about that because like you elect these people, and especially as young people and that, like you elect them, but then that's the last you see them until for another 4 years, whatever.
And that's very sad. That's very wrong.
Well, obviously not. You're involved in, like, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general.
No, and I hear you. And there's plenty of people like that. And it is very sad. And probably because I come from a different, as I said to
Well,
you, the very first thing I said to you.
You know what
I didn't
mean?
want
You
it.
fell into that because you
it was an
started doing things like
unintended
that.
kind of move,
Yeah.
and fell into it through my activism.
Yeah.
And one thing I've always maintained is I keep that active. Like even
Yeah.
now, like it's still Friday afternoon is my canvas afternoon for an hour and a half, 2 hours every Friday afternoon. Get into a street, wrap as many doors as we can in whatever time we have, depending on how many of us is there. And then off I go
Even
and
now?
have a few pints and go to the football.
Lovely.
That's my Friday. And the day I lose that is the day I will hang my shoes up and say, fuck that, I'm away
That's
home.
great.
And I think it's sad that an awful lot more people don't do that, because if they don't and they're stuck in an office, and I'm not disputing that they're not putting their head down
Yeah.
and working hard, but if they're stuck in papers and they're stuck in documents, they're not hearing really
Yeah, you have
lived
to.
life experiences. And if you're not hearing them experiences, how can you go in and advocate for the change that people are crying out for? And people are crying out for change. It's a very, very hard time. Like I had a clinic today, and you know, you can be so despaired sometimes when people coming into you and you cannot fix their problems, and you have to sit across the table from somebody and say, I hear you, I feel you, but it's out of my control. All I can do is try and help you. That's a very hard thing to do. I'd love to be able to, you know, but I don't give people false hope either. That's one thing I am, is very straight. If I can't help you, I'll tell you, look, this isn't what I think is going to happen. We can try, but you need to be prepared that this may be not the outcome that you expect. But if you're not out knocking doors, or you're not out attending events with your local chamber, your local football club, your local boxing club, or whatever it may be,
Understanding the people and community you're representing.
hearing what people are going through.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that, you're never going to be in a position to advocate to change it.
Yeah, I agree. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's understanding the people like that you're representing, really. You know.
See, I just don't, and I hate being called a politician. I know we were laughing about it earlier on. I don't see myself as a politician. I just see myself as a Drogheda girl. Do you know, that kind of way? And I really hope that stays.
Yeah.
And if you ever come across me a year, 5 years down the line, and that's not what I am anymore, feel free to give me a slap. But no, you know, and I don't feel like I'm a politician in a suit.
Yes.
That's stereotype of a politician. I just feel very privileged that I'm one of us, one of you, born, reared, drank in the same pubs, drank in the same corners, you know, went to the same sports matches, you know, all that kind of stuff that everybody else done, shop in the same shops as you, and you know, and I just feel as long as I have that, then if I can take that up there, I'm bringing these voices with me, and that's really what motivates me.
Yeah, good. And you know, it's a difficult time to be in politics at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
With like, there's a lot of issues, but now with social media, with everything, there's a lot going on. So fair play to you. You know,
I don't do a lot of social media.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at it. Again, our media team would probably, as I was telling you earlier, the local media tell me I'm the only politician that runs from the camera, not to it. Our own internal media team tell me I'm desperate at it. Like I can't do all
this.
I can't do all the videos and the TikTok. I only joined TikTok yesterday, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So anybody out there, please follow me, because I have like one follower. But I don't know if you'll ever see any content on it, is the only thing. But I'm so out of my comfort zone and stuff like that.
It's not like you have to do it all the time. Like, because sometimes it does worse as well, you know what I mean? Like, there could be, and the comments some people to be putting up.
See, I've never got bad comments either. I think I'd have a heart attack.
I know. See,
if
it's not. It wouldn't be an easy
really,
thing to deal with. Then you just have to kind of put that away and put it to bed and just go. There could be just trolls and stuff
I'm
like that. I'm
probably very lucky, touch wood, that I have a good local support.
Yeah.
People know I'm a hard worker. They mightn't like me, mightn't agree with my politics, but there's no bullshit with me. And I think that stands to me for now. That's not to say my time won't come, but for the minute I don't get a bad time, probably because I don't do enough social media, maybe. Like I do try and put a post up a day or whatever, but I don't do the 5 posts a day or 10 posts a day that a lot of other people do. And I can't do anything that's staged. And you know, if for somebody to make me do something, I feel awful awkward. Like I just can't. If it's natural, fine. You know, and somebody happens to catch it. But if you're sitting there trying to, like, see during the election, like we had a video crew come in to try and make a video, like campaign video, and by God, they had their work cut out
Hi,
of me. Like,
I'm Joanna.
oh no, there was none of that. Like, it was just cringe-worthy stuff. It was awful. Like, I don't know how I got elected.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of that
Well, you
video.
got
Anyway.
elected because you're going round and you spend a lot of time with people.
Yeah.
But follow Joanna on TikTok.
I probably haven't even set it up, right?
Yeah,
God knows what should be followed.
yeah. But and yeah, so like in Ireland at the moment, and I don't want to get into too much, but the whole immigration thing is gone. You know, my problem is that no one seems to be sitting down and having a proper conversation. And again, it comes down to the transparency of it, that nobody will seem to like just. This is what we think. It's all like, well, and then whoever has a bad opinion of it is called a racist or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's an awful circle at the moment where, like, what's your kind of opinion on it?
It is.
Like,
It's an awful circle. And behind it all is people fleeing war. And for me, that would be the one thing I would always try and remember. There's nobody, despite what people think, there's nobody giving up their homes and coming to countries with one bag on their back, with a couple of t-shirts, if they even have that, and the same for their kids, for the sake of it, you know what I mean? So, and if there is, it's a very, very small minority, right? The majority of these people are fleeing something horrific, and that's always what I try and make myself remember. There's an awful lot of misconceptions and mistruths out there in relation to immigration, which really, really infuriates me. People who come in here do not jump the housing list. And can I be very clear to anybody who is listening, they do not jump the housing list. They have to go through an awful process, live in slum accommodation, because that's what refugee accommodation is, right? It's substandard crap, right? Where
in Ireland?
Locked in rooms, fed slop. They may as well be in the God knows where, right? It's not an easy ride, right?
But do you not think?
No.
Go on. You finish.
I just want to make
You're
this
on a roll.
point. I'm on a roll, right? Go, Joanna. And then eventually, if they do get processed, right, they start like everybody else at the bottom of a housing list. They'll spend 10 years in a housing list before they're allocated a house. In that time, they're out and they're working like everybody else, right? But what I would say is the frustrations that are in people are very founded as well, I believe, because there are people struggling with housing. There are people struggling with healthcare. There are people struggling in low-paid jobs. There are people just cannot make ends meet, or looking at their family and their friends bursting their bollocks and barely surviving, right? Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that frustrates me, because if the government were doing their job, these people wouldn't be struggling. We wouldn't be in the midst of a cost of living crisis. We would have a house over our heads. We would have fair pay for fair work, and we would have a functioning health service where everybody can get basic health care. If we had all of them right, there mightn't be so much resistance to people coming into the country. So I can kind of, I'm a very measured person. I can see both sides of a coin. I love having these debates with people. I've had them in pubs. I've had them at the football.
It's always after food drinks.
But I love to hear people, and I love to let people say what they need to say. And then you'll always find frustration is founded because they're fighting for something they believe they're entitled to and they haven't got, and they're directing their anger. But they're directing it at the wrong people. I believe it should be directed at government and you know, the institutions that
they've made it this
country,
way.
To be honest with you. If them things were right, I don't think there would be so much resistance to immigration. Yes, we've took too many people. Yes, the system is broken, right? I don't believe that the system that deals with immigration is sufficient and adequate. I don't think it's resourced enough to turn around things in a timely manner, to keep an eye on it, to ensure only people who are entitled to be here are here, and people who aren't are sent back. I don't think there's enough investment into it, and this keep taking them approach is wrong when you can't handle what's already here. But I think two things. One, these people are fleeing something really, really horrific, right? So that's the first thing, and that's always the first thing I will think of, is the background. What are they coming from? And two, people's frustrations are usually very founded. And I think if them things were fixed right, there would be more a welcome approach, because people wouldn't be struggling themselves, and they're dead right. People are, and if they're believing what, and here we coming back to the internet and social media and all the crap that goes around in it, you know, if people feel that somebody who's coming into this country, and this mantra of single men coming into this country without women and kids, and what are they coming here for? And they're getting a house, and they're getting a job, and they're getting their cars taxed, and they're getting this, that and the other, and I can't put bread on the table, or I haven't got cereal in for the kids for their breakfast tomorrow morning. Of course they're going to be pissed off. Let's call a spade
for
spade,
sure,
right? So there's an obligation again on the legislators of this country, the government of this country, to fix it all. And I suppose from somebody in my point of view, what do? Do I sit back and let people suffer, or do I try and help change things? And that's what I do on a daily basis. I listen, I hear, and I will relay information back and try and feed that into transformative policy that will bring about the change that's needed.
And has there been any, like, you know, new idea on the policy of how to change it all? Because to be honest, it does seem like it's a mess. It seems like an absolute mess.
All the speaking rights stuff is delayed. So there is actually no committees. There's nothing functioning in the Dáil. It's a do-nothing government, and has been since November.
Like that
and it's going to be the middle of May before that place is up and running. So essentially...
And then go on the summer holidays.
like we are at the moment.
Isn't that mad though?
And to be honest with you, you know, I sat a couple of weeks ago and I went, oh, we're off for 2.5 weeks again. Like, what the hell am I going to do for 2.5 weeks? But it's been great because it gave me time to be home, to be catching up with community groups and stuff like that. Opened my own office here in the town, and new constituency office. So it was great to be back in Drogheda for the couple of weeks, and to be able to be here tonight doing this as well, and different things, you know. So
the timing worked out perfectly. So just sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier on, but what I was saying is that you can understand people's frustration. Like, I think a lot of it is the hotels and stuff like that been taken over, like that Unismall, even with the D Hotel. Like, I think that was mad, taking over the
D Hotel was an absolute disgrace,
you know. And I think that's what, like, I don't think Irish people as a whole are racist. We will help everyone. We, like, you know what I mean? We have went to the four corners of the world, and we know people's plight. Like, you see the protest for Palestine, the whole thing, and we, at our heart, we are not racist. I think it is the concern that the whole place is a mess, and they're just seeing people coming from everywhere with no structure to it whatsoever. So I do think that's what the problem is.
And you look at the D Hotel now, you know, and we put up such a fight. I was a councillor at the time. We did not know about that until...
I don't think anyone knew about it until it was just done.
No, it was done. It was broken the news. We got a press release at 11 o'clock saying this has been announced at 1 o'clock. It was done. But that place is at 15% occupancy.
That's for me, and then just getting bank.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
And all the tourism potential that we are losing. Like, the only now, to be fair to the Westcourt or the Marcy as they are now, they've done their best to reopen, and they're playing a blinder. Like, I was in it there on Easter Sunday, and
Scotland's still open.
Yeah,
is the Boyne Valley?
The Boyne Valley is open as well.
But
you know,
still not
all the other
enough.
places really rallied and got themselves on their feet. And but you know, the biggest hotel in the largest town in the country was whoever made that decision should be hung, drawn and quartered.
I agree with you, because it just really annoyed me. It's like, how can anyone think this is a good idea?
But this is coming back to this pen pushing stuff that I was saying to you earlier on. People get consumed in an office looking at documents with no understanding of the on the ground implications of things and making decisions. Somebody probably made that decision who was never in Drogheda in their life, let's be honest.
100%.
But like, where was the consultation? Why not come to the elected reps, the TDs or the councillors, and say, how much of an impact would this have? Obviously everybody's going to fight for their area and say, I don't want to lose our hotel. But go to Love Drogheda Bids, go to these people, these stakeholders who are invested in elevating these areas, and say to them, how much of it, like, let's do an economic impact assessment on this. Let's see how it is going to affect Drogheda. Once they were walked over West Street, shown West Street, and told this is the largest hotel in the largest town in the country, and you were taking it away. Surely to God, an alarm bell would ring somewhere, and somebody would go, oh yeah, maybe that's not such a good idea. But
that's what I mean. So, like, where has it all been pushed from, and like, how is no one making a decision on this, saying this is not like benefiting like Drogheda or Ireland in a way, you know what I mean? Like, our hospitality sector seems to be like about to fall on its knees because of this. Like,
I think, you know, without attacking anybody. Somebody privately owns that hotel.
Oh, I know, yeah.
You know, saw an opportunity to make a few bob, and probably, and in one sense, shouldn't have to bear the brunt of carrying all the tourism potential of the town on their shoulders, right? Who knows? Maybe they had their own financial difficulties.
Yeah.
I don't think they did, to be honest with you, because there's a few hotels around the place with the same thing. But I saw an opportunity and took it. Right. In one sense, you could say that's fine. I don't say that's fine, but some people might say that's fine, and that's his choice to do. But my problem is somebody in a government department should have then...
Yes.
You know, the warning bells should have rang and went, hang on a minute, how many other hotels are in this town? This is quite a large hotel we're going to remove if we go through with this deal. And they didn't. And that's the bit that infuriates me. And like, we met Leo Varadkar, all the councillors in Drogheda. We lobbied and we went up and met Leo Varadkar and explained it to him and said it to him. To be fair to him, you know, and it wouldn't be very often I'd say it, he turned to his officials both sides of him and he said, is there anything we can do about this? And they said, no, it's
deal's done.
You know, he didn't really know, you know, what was, like, this is this detachment from reality thing that keeps, like, there is, it's an ever-evolving circle where this constantly comes up, that decisions are made by people who are detached from what is actually going on in the area. And that's what you've got local stakeholders for. That's what you've got impartial organisations like Chambers of Commerce, Love Drogheda Bids, and you've got elected officials who are put there by the people of the area they
and all those, they do great. They do great work.
You know, pull them all together.
Yeah, 100%. It was
rather than making decisions and only informing them afterwards.
I know. It was the first morning I actually heard you speak was that morning the Chamber organised with yourself and Jed Nash, and there was the couple other TDs as well.
Paula and Erin.
Paula, and another lady as well. I can't remember her name.
Green.
But that was lovely. That was a great...
It was a nice morning,
but in the same way, that's, I think, should be happening more of, like, your local TDs kind of going, we're holding this meeting and getting people to talk with
and
stuff.
I actually said that
was really
morning,
good, like...
to Hubert that he should do one with the councillors.
Oh, 100%.
Well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think I love that kind of stuff. I'm very agile. I love to give people a hug. I love to kind of, you know, I'm all about feeling, and all this at the head. I don't know how wrong that sounds, you know. But like I'm real hands-on with people, and I love people.
Yeah.
And I would go to anything all day long if there was people in it, quicker than I would sit and read a document or, you know, sit in my own on the phone to somebody. Like, I'm very hands-on, and COVID killed me because I couldn't interact with people. It really killed me. Like, the first 2 months of COVID, I was distraught because I hadn't physically touched somebody or smelled somebody. Okay, Joanna, shut up now. But, you know, I just think you can gain so much more, you know, from a round table discussion. It's more intimate. It's more real, it's human, and you know, you have to remember every single topic of discussion we talk about, whether it's tourism, whether it's business, employment, sport, it doesn't matter what it is, but every statistic we talk about, behind every statistic is a human reality. And that's what you need to know, and you can grasp that more by sitting with people and hearing their passion or hearing their woes or their sorrow or their elation or whatever emotion they're going through. You can feel it more if you're sitting with them than you can if you're on the other end of the phone.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think there's so much to be gained by bringing people together and conversing in person.
Especially, like, we've tried to do it with the business owners, and we've a group now over the VAT thing. And even we're bringing the VAT down to 9%, and even with that, you can see everyone's like working together. And I think it's just so much more important to do that. And it'd be great for the local representatives to do that with the people, you know, and the businesses and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, the business are the ones that are driving the town, and when you're coming in and how it looks and stuff like so. No,
we all have a common goal.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
Like,
and you know, one thing that annoys me is that, see, we have the River Boyne, right? And we've all the ancient stories. We've all the salmon knowledge, everything. How have we not really got onto that yet? Like, do you know the Wild Atlantic Way, right? Class, and all these tiny little towns.
But even our, like, if you look at Kilkenny and
Yeah,
medieval
yeah,
walls
yeah.
and Derry City.
Yeah.
Like, you can walk. I was in Derry 2 weeks ago for the Drogheda match. Woo, up the Drogheda. But like, we spent the afternoon walking the city walls. Like, we had that. We have the potential to redo that. Like, we've so much history and the river,
time.
as you say, like, we're missing a trick. But, you know, the innovation, I don't know if the innovation wasn't there, or did people spend too much time trying to score points with each other, or was there just a lack of interest in Drogheda? I don't know. Do I feel that the interest is there now? Yes, I do.
Oh, it is,
from
definitely,
everybody.
yeah,
you
from
know,
everyone.
I think you've got a really vibrant council. You've got a great mix of youth and energy and experience and age, right? You've got a change in your TDs. You've got a lot more women, which I'd be really, really passionate about. So you've got a nice mix of perspective between what was predominantly always men to having another point of view from a woman coming in there.
We need the balance.
Yeah, and well, there's actually outweigh. Poor Jed is on his own,
Oh, is
like,
he?
with the 4 women. But you know, you just have a different mindset, and then you've got, like, Hubert's doing massive work with the chamber. You've got Trevor and all the gang in Love Drogheda. You've got all these great energetic organisations coming together. You've got a change in the executive and the council as well, with a new chief executive. I think this is our time. I think this is a really exciting time.
We're on to positive stuff now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Up to Drogheda.
Yeah. No, it is. No, and I agree with you. And I think it's just, I always just, when I went over to the Wild and Out Way and I was driving around all these little towns, and it's like the whole place has been transformed because of that one idea, and they done the whole the road around. It was like, how this side doesn't have it. I know we've the ancient eats, it's called, but it's not synced.
Same. No, it's not.
It's not, isn't it not? Like,
no, it's not.
So
but will come.
I think,
do believe it will
and
come.
I think
the
Drogheda
will is
should be
there.
nearly the focal point
Yeah.
of that whole place, like, especially with all of our stories, the Vikings coming in,
And
like
even
everything.
geographically where we're located.
It's
You're
flat.
halfway between Dublin and Belfast.
It was the biggest flat ever, and it was amazing because it was so easy to get to, and it was amazing.
So many ways in and out of the town.
Yeah.
Stuff
So
like
I
that.
think definitely, look, we push on and we keep it positive.
Yeah, we will.
As much as we can. There was a shout out. Kieran McGyver said to say thank you for all your hard work with the theatre statue. Yeah,
we great fun in that committee. Now, Kieran was intense. He won't mind me saying that, so he won't. But and that was a project that was written off before it was started, and Kieran's passion just
he drove it on.
He
drove it on.
I've never met anybody so dedicated to something, but we had great fun on that journey as well, and he had a lot of good women around him too.
Yeah. But like, where is it now? Where the statues hang out? There seems to be a little community of statues down there. No, it's great though, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
It is
brilliant,
really
and
good.
it's brilliant to see a woman in the middle of that and to be rightfully acknowledged.
Absolutely. I met her before. We done the thing in the concert hall, and it was great. She's lovely, really nice.
She's dope.
So it was great. But look, I think we're coming to the end here. Thanks very much.
Oh,
I
was nervous at the beginning. I'm just getting into the groove now.
I will keep going. There was a few more shout outs. I don't think there was in my little notebook there. No, my guy that I have in there. But no, that's pretty much the stuff. Joanna, thanks very much for coming in today. Hope you had a lovely chat.
I did, yeah. Great,
and I'd love to do it again soon.
Yeah, we will indeed.
We should
We'll come back
organise
and
something.
check our progress sometime
Yeah,
soon.
absolutely. And we'll see, hopefully the Drogs win the
league.
Win the league. You never know.
The European
I only found out they play 4 times. They play each team, isn't it?
Yeah.
I only actually found out the other day because I was wondering, it's like, how long? Seems like the longest league.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, it's like, it's.
I know.
Oh, it's great.
It's good.
Yeah, it is great. When you only have 10 teams.
Well, sure, it doesn't matter now. We're beating them all anyway.
Hey, Joanna, thank you so much for coming in. Hope you all enjoyed it. My name is Daithi, and this was Having a Lovely Chat.
Cheers.
Thank you.
From that day, we share cafe lattes. Ooh, cafe.